my friends, this is Stephanie Rittermont from Courageous Living. You know, as we are wrapping up 2020, many of us are looking ahead at 2021 and thinking about what our goals and aspirations are. But I have a question for you. How do you balance goals and expectations? And do you know how to turn your expectations into appreciation? Stay right where you're at and I'll be right back to tell you more. Have you ever struggled with balancing goals and expectations? I know I have. I can remember a time a few years ago, I had my goals in place, but my focus got off my goals because my expectations were driving this frustration and disappointment I had in myself. And so when I was looking at my goals and where I thought I should be further down the road, my career should be further down the road, everything should look different in my life, and it didn't. And I was so frustrated. And I remember I called my life coach and I was telling her about it, and she says, well, you've got to get rid of your expectations. And I never realized how expectations can really creep in there if we're not staying balanced. And my expectations became this ball and chain around my ankles. And let me explain a little further. So when things don't turn out the way that we think they should or we thought that they would, that's those unhealthy expectations. And what happens is when things aren't turning out the way we planned, we get disappointed and we get frustrated and we think our goals are useless and we get rid of our goals. Or we just forget about them, we're not going to do it anymore. And that's not really the case. It's the fact that our eyes have gotten off of the main focus, and that's what your goals are. Expectations can be defined as a strong belief that something is going to happen in the future. I love this quote by Tony Robbins, and he encourages people to really kind of get away from their expectations. And this is what he says. He says, trade your expectations for appreciation, and the world changes instantly. You know, I find that phrase very encouraging, because until then, I didn't realize back a few years ago how to even get rid of expectations. I was just so filled with disappointment. But what he's saying is that when you start to look at things through appreciation, when things don't turn out the way that you had planned or thought that they would, or that you'd be further down the road than where you are, you're not disappointed. Because you have to look at things through an appreciation, or it actually leans you in the direction of gratitude. So if I don't get that job that I was interviewing for, and I interviewed 3 times for, and I thought for sure my expectation was I'm going to get that job. Well, this is what happens, is that I get disappointed. But if I appreciate where I'm at on the journey, if I can find things to appreciate around me, just appreciate the fact I was interviewed, or appreciate the fact that this company is interested in me. When you start to turn things around and get those expectations off of you and turn them into appreciation, you will not find yourself being disappointed or frustrated when life changes on you. And we all know change happens. That's the one constant in our life. And so I want to encourage you, my friend, to find ways to take those expectations off and trade them for appreciation. And that's going to look different for all of us. But I want to ask you, what does that look like to you? So let's talk about goals. And I know there's books and there's articles, all kinds of things out there about goals. But I really believe that even with goals, you have to still keep this flexibility in place. Because if you don't, you're going to slide into expectations. And you're going to get frustrated and disappointment. So with the goals, I look at goals as landmarks. They're like markers along my path in life that keep me going in the direction of where I want to go. It's kind of like when you're going to work and you take the same route every day, but now you have construction that's taking place. And so you go to your maps and you have to plug it in, your address for work, and now you find yourself going down all these different back roads and all these different ways, but you know what? You still get to work. Even though it took you a different route, it took you to where you wanted to go, your end destination. And so goals are a lot of the same way, that you might still take some interesting paths to get there, but you will get to that end result. In fact, it'll probably even be better than you thought it was going to be. I like what Tim Ferriss says, who's the author of the 4-Hour Workweek. And here's what he says about high goals. He says, when you reach for high goals, you can't be depressed when you only make it halfway. For this is often farther than you would have made it if you set your goals lower to begin with. And what he's saying is that, you know, if you've set your goal here, and this is where you're at, and you get this point and maybe things change, you have to make some big changes to your goals or abandon them for whatever reason, or you just bail out, you're still this much further than where you were down here. And so having high goals, there's nothing wrong with, because it really does pull you out of your comfort zone. It really challenges you to reach further and farther, and also to believe that you can actually accomplish them. So I encourage you, my friend, as you are going into 2021 and you're setting your goals, really kind of move those expectations out to appreciation, flip it around. And I would challenge you to really think, what does that look like for you? So my friend, until next time, continue to live that courageous life and be strong and be kind. And I'll see you next time. Hey my friends, I hope you found this video encouraging and helpful for everyday life. For more videos like this, hit the subscribe button below. Also, don't forget to follow me on my other social media platforms.